We usually start the 4-mile crater hike on the Maui Trail. Maui is a common name for grasses and sedges, and there apparently was a grass hut or hale near the top of this trail. Archaeologist Kenneth Emery mentions this grass hale in his 1921 survey of the crater. We start at Halima'u, or Switchback Trail, because early morning is the best time to see clearly down Ko'olau Gap, and on a clear day all the way down Ko'olau to the ocean. This is the windward side, so the clouds will come up the gap into the crater, making visibility more difficult. We walk a mile down to the bridge, a spot where you can see Ko'olau Gap on one side and into the crater on the other side. This trail has the most plants because it gets the most moisture coming up the gap from Ko'olau's big valley. Then we drive up to the summit to start on Sliding Sands Trail. Sliding Sands is Ke'one He'e in Hawaiian. This trail has limited plants, mostly kupa'oa, silver swords, and a'ali'i, because this is the true alpine desert. This is the a'ali'i. It is an endemic. The plant is sacred to Laka, goddess of the hula. It's a shrub that can be as tall as 25 feet, particularly near Paliku and Kaupo Gap, as Ula Ula is showing us. Its flowers are small and they develop into capsules containing seeds. The capsules can be several colors from tan to brown to burgundy. Here they are. These dry, papery capsules give the plant its name. They resemble a Hawaiian chief and a li'i's helmet, which is a mahiole. What was the plant used for? The capsules and flowers are used in lei. Red and purple dyes are made from the flowers and seeds. And its hard brown heartwood was used for spears, daggers, and implements. The ama'u fern. It's an endemic. It's a hardy tree fern, smaller than the hapu'u tree fern. Its young leaves are red, which protects against the ultraviolet rays of the sun. It has a high resistance to heat and drought, thus it's one of the first plants to root in new lava. When it dies in the lava, its decaying fronds and trunk make a bed for the ohia tree, which is the first tree on new lava. So what was ama'u used for? The fronds were used for several things. They were used for roofing, for the roofs of their hale. They also paved the roads or the pathways for royalty with the fronds so that the royalty could walk along them. And the young fronds can be cooked and eaten, and apparently they taste like asparagus. There's also a slimy extract that comes from the fronds that was used as a glue to piece together pieces of kapa cloth. And from the trunk, they obtained a red dye, and they used this to dye kapa cloth. The geranium, also called the hina-hina or ahina-hina, meaning silver, it's an endemic and it's a perennial shrub. It can reach as high as 40 inches. That's a little over 3 feet. Its silvery green leaves have 3 teeth at the top of each leaf. You can see them here, and sometimes they have a few more than 3, but usually 3. Then there is a mesh of fine white hair over the leaves that gives it this silvery look. And this reflects the harsh sunlight and protects the plant from harsh UV rays. These are the flowers, and they have 5 egg-shaped petals. Kukai nene, so named because the berries look like nene kaka. The berries are tasteless to us, but they are a favorite food of the nene geese. The female plant has the berries. Kukai nene has both male and female plants, so it's dioecious. This is an endemic perennial shrub that grows only 8 inches tall, but it can trail up to 10 feet. and it's in the coffee family. What was it used for? A laxative. Perfect. And its dark berries produce a purple dye, and bark from the plant makes a yellow dye. Kupa oa. It's an endemic. It's a member of the sunflower or the aster family. There are 21 endemic Kupa oa species throughout Hawaii, and several of these species are found in Haleakala. You'll notice that many of these pictures, they look a little bit different because they're different species. Kupa oa belongs to the Silversword Alliance, a group of endemics believed to have evolved from a single species originating in North America millions of years ago. And sometimes the Kupa oa will interbreed with silverswords, thus producing a hybrid. What was it used for? Kupa oa means permeating fragrance and refers to the sweet-smelling leaves, so it was a strong scent that was used to scent kapa cloth. And the flowers and seeds of the Kupa oa are used sometimes in lei. Mamane is an endemic. It can be a tree or a shrub. It's a flowering plant in the pea and bean family, and it can reach a height of 50 feet. Its yellow flowers are an important food for native honey creepers, like the iiwi bird and the apapane. The flowers are followed by seed pods, you can see them here, containing yellow beans which are bitter and poisonous. Seed pods remain on the tree most of the year. What was mamane used for? Its dense, hard wood was used for house posts and beams, for spears, and for sled or holua runners. And the wood is used in religious rituals to ward off evil. Oh hello is an endemic. It's common on Maui and the Big Island, but rare on the other islands. It's a small spreading shrub from 6 inches high to waist high. Its young leaves are reddish colored. Oh hello means berry. The berries are edible. They're bright red or yellow or orange. The color does not indicate its ripeness. Ohelo berries are sacred to Pele, and ohelo is related to blueberries and cranberries. So what was it used for? They made a tea from the leaves for chest congestion and cough. And the berries are offered to Pele, thrown into burning craters on the Big Island as an offering. The berries are also made into jams and jellies nowadays. Pilo is an endemic. It's in the coffee family, so it's a relative of coffee. It has orange-colored fruits. They're not tasty to humans, just to birds. It's dioecious, which means it has both male and female plants, and the female has the berries. It's usually a shrub. Occasionally it can be a tree, but not usually. I've not found any use for the plant other than the berries are great for birds. Evening primrose. This is a flowering herb from South America. Its yellow flower has 4 petals, and it lives at high elevations, typically along roadsides as it does in Haleakala. It's considered an invasive threat here, but it is cultivated elsewhere for its healing powers. Oil from its seeds is used for women's problems like PMS. Pukiave. It's indigenous or native to all Hawaiian Islands and to the Marquesas, so it's not endemic. Its scientific name honors Kamehameha. It's named by a German botanist in 1816. The plant can live 50 feet above sea level to 10,000 feet above sea level. It's a woody shrub 1 to 15 feet high, and its berries are white, pink, or red. What was it used for? The leaves were used to treat headaches and colds. You would mash the leaves with salt, add water, and inhale the mixture for congestion. The red berries were mashed for dyes for kapa cloth. And a chief, an ali'i, would be marked with the soot of burnt pukiave wood so he could mingle with people without contaminating his mana. He would bathe in the smoke of its fire, and this would cloak his mana, allowing him to move freely amongst commoners. Sometimes criminals were cremated in a fire of pukiawe wood. Sandalwood, or in Hawaiian, iliahi. Various sandalwood species are found in India, Australia, Asia, and throughout the Pacific Islands. But this particular one is endemic to Haleakala. Sandalwood are medium-sized hemiparasitic trees. Their roots are partially parasitic on the roots of surrounding plants and trees. Thus, they are often the understory in a koa forest. Hemiparasitic means they derive some nutrients from their host, but not all. They can grow to 30 feet, but they grow very, very slowly. A 50-year-old tree can be quite small. In the summertime, they have white flowers and red seeds that appear at the end of their branches. What was sandalwood used for? Well, it has an aromatic heartwood that retains its fragrance for decades. The scent is believed to lift one's spirits, which is why Indian gurus wear sandalwood lei. The essential oils are extracted from the wood and are made into perfume. Demand and greed for the wood and its scent stripped Hawaii's forests from the 1790s to the 1830s. The Chinese, who were especially greedy for the wood, called Hawaii the Sandalwood Mountains or Sandalwood Islands. Every man, woman, and child in some areas, especially the Big Island, had to bring in a certain number of trees. Many maka'ainana died from exposure to cold when they went up the mountains to get the trees. Their fields were left fallow and famine ensued. Kamehameha I started the sandalwood trade. In 1839, his son, Kamehameha III, or Kauikeaoli, stopped it by placing a kapu on any remaining sandalwood. The silver sword, also called ahinahina or hinahina, means silver. Its silvery leaves look like swords, thus the plant is called silver sword. Its leaves look similar to succulent leaves, but silver sword leaves contain air spaces filled with a gel that stores water. It has evolved to withstand the dryness of silver cones and the intense sunlight of Haleakala's altitude. For instance, the ball forms a natural bowl to conserve water. The plant is covered with a dense layer of silvery, silky hairs that reflect sunlight and UV rays and heat, and it also provides insulation against the intense sun and dryness. The silver sword is an endemic plant. It can live from 7,000 feet to 12,000 feet. It belongs to the Compositae family along with daisies, sunflowers, artichokes, and chrysanthemums. Sometime between 7 and 20 years it will flower with 100 to 500 flower heads, and then it will die. Its flowering season is June through October. Once there were thousands of silver swords inside the crater and on the outer slopes of Haleakala, but now they are only found within the crater. In the early days, some cinder cones were covered in silver swords, but in the 19th century, visitors liked to bowl the silver sword balls down the cinders or take one home as a souvenir. Goats love to eat them too, and now they are extremely rare. Maui wormwood, or Artemisia mauiensis, also called ahinahina or hinahina for its silver color. Artemisia is a large genus with about 250 species, including the cowboy's sagebrush of the American West. This Artemisia or wormwood that you're looking at is endemic to Haleakala, found only there. Its leaves have a sagebrush wormwood smell, and the leaves are covered with a mat of cotton-like hair, making the plant appear silver. It is a sprawling shrub from 2 to 6 feet tall and 4 to 5 feet wide, and it likes full sun. So what was it used for? The Hawaiians pounded the leaves and then sniffed them for asthma and congestion.